Here.
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 Now, if you could all just stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then remain standing for a moment of quiet reflection. Mrs. Jordan, you will.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We'll move into the adoption of the agenda. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda? And is there any questions, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to adopt the agenda of June 9th, 2025 as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Minutes from the prior meetings. Are there any questions from the board or any related to any of the minutes or the minutes from the last meeting? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the minutes of May 14th, 2025 as presented.
And I'll second.
We have a motion second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Mr. Lavender.
Good evening, Governing Board, President Wilkie, Governing Board members. We want to take an opportunity tonight to recognize an employee that has been with us for 21 years. 21 years ago, we stole her from the Casa Grande Dispatch to come over here and run our payroll department. We were in desperate need at that time, getting somebody over here who knew payroll. It could be an asset to our district, and she's been a wonderful asset to our district for the last 21 years. I estimate that she has paid out $546 million in payroll over the 21 years that she's been here. Or to put it in terms that she may understand, it's equal to what Josh Allen, her favorite football player for her beloved Buffalo Bills, is going to make in his lifetime. Unlike Josh Allen, who hasn't won the Super Bowl for her yet, MJ has been a champion here in our school district, and we're so lucky to have her. She has been the Lone Ranger, and so Mary has a little visual aid for all of you. But she has been the Lone Ranger in her department many times during her career, and has been the Lone Ranger in the payroll department since about last September. And so, to show you how valuable it is, MJ has decided she's going to retire come December 31st. And we have to replace her with two different people. But she has been, she's done a phenomenal job. And if I could sum up MJ, number one is customer service. She goes out of her way to ensure all 400 employees in our district's payroll is taken care of. It goes to the correct bank. The correct deductions are taken. She doesn't make mistakes very often, but when she does, she takes it very personally and really digs in to figure out what happened. But I would say her success rate or correctness in paying is well over 99%. Payroll is one of those things that when everything's good with payroll, you never hear about it. But one October, Wednesday, when we tell all the employees they're not getting paid on Friday, like we did about a year and a half ago, then her phone is flying off the hook about what can we do, what and that and things. And so that's why it's been such a blessing. It's because as superintendent, other than that day where people weren't going to get paid because of a mistake at the county, there have been absolutely no issues in payroll that I've ever had to deal with. And a lot of that's the accuracy, and because it's complex. We have some employees that get 26 pays a year, we have others that get 21 pays a year, And people can elect to have 21 or 26. She has to manage that. She has to manage deductions. She has to manage the extra things that people ask to do that. Some people want money to go to this account. Some people want money to go to this account. And she's always on top of it and always gets done. And another thing, in a little over 2 years that I've been here, I'm not sure MJ's ever missed a day of work. She is here every single day, 9, 10 hours a day, working so hard to ensure that our employees are being paid. And that really just comes down to the work ethic, why we hired her 21 years ago from the Pasadena Dispatch. We knew that she would be a great addition to our team, and she has. But not only that work ethic, her pride in her work, and that she wants every one of our employees paid to be accurate the way they ask for it. And when it doesn't happen, she corrects it right away and gets it done. And so, MJ, I want to thank you for your dedication to this school district. The last 3 years have been a pleasure to work with you, but I know there are people like the young lady sitting next to me that have worked with you the whole 21 years. And when I announced that you were going to be employed in the month, there were so many people that said, yes, what a great choice. Because, again, when payroll is right, it's one of those things you don't think about. But when I mentioned the name, I said, what a great choice to recognize somebody that's done so well. So, MJ, please come up here.
Yeah.
Thanks for such a good job.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for keeping us on task.
And she adjusts it when it's not good.
My camera does not do that.
Oh, good.
Mr. Lavender, back to you for your report.
Oh. I left it up on the podium, sir. Very short report tonight. I did want to report, we've had 108 students that enrolled in summer school in an intensive credit recovery at PACE. 100 of the 108 students will be earning 1 or 2 credits. So we're very pleased with that. He has done a fantastic job running summer school. Also, Dave, a couple of weekends ago, our trap and skeet team won the state championship again. Are you saying 2 in a row, sir?
Pardon?
Are you saying 2 in a row?
2 in a row in our second year and
Yeah, so congratulations. They'll do a presentation up and coming. I also wanted to thank the city for their working with us collaboratively for our 2 graduation ceremonies. We will be meeting with them, talking about things that we can do better. We're also going to take a look. I think the person that estimated seating at 18 inches per bleacher spot was probably off on the size of our community. And so I think we'll be adjusting that next year to 24 inches rather than 18. Because one of the things we found out after Vista's ceremony, there were about 500 adults or tickets that were issued that did not attend that night because we collected all the tickets when they came in. And so where we would have put those 500 people, and we based it off the occupancy that was determined. So I think probably next year we're looking at reducing Vista's bleacher from 2,700 down to 1,800 and Unions from 4,700 down to 3,200. which probably will mean putting more seats out on the field. So we're not eliminating all those seats and that, but working with the city on that. And so big thank you. Also, I went out to CAC to pick up a couple things today, and I drove down Truckle Road, and I think they're almost to the finish line. The lanes are 4 lines, or they're working on the medium, and I'm confident they're going to be done for our first day of school on July 21st. But I want to commend Dr. Lineberry as well as the construction company for a job well done working together between the two companies, the city, the construction company, and the school district. I know there are parents that were probably wanting to pull their hair out over this project, and I know there are a couple sitting up on the dais tonight. But when it is done and we have 2 lanes going each way next year, dedicated lanes into the school, I think we're going to see big changes. The medium's going to offer some challenges as well. Also, we're going to ask the board to host a special board meeting on Monday, June 23rd at noon to approve the proposed expenditure budget. It'll be a very quick phone meeting, but we're putting the finishing touches on the budget. But Mrs. Price should be ready to go on June 23rd to get that done, correct? And so we would ask you to do that. And then also on this Friday at 4 o'clock at Pace, there are 8 students, or up to 8 students that will be potentially graduating. I'm not sure all 8 are going to make it. That was 8 that were eligible, but we know there are some students, both from Vista and Grandy, that were not able to graduate in May that have earned their credits and can graduate on Friday. If you'd like to join me for the graduation ceremony this Friday, 4 o'clock. I'll ask Mary to send out an invite tomorrow on that, as well as send out the invite for Monday, June 23rd. But that's all I have tonight, sir.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to matters reserved for board action. Mr. Lavender, policy JICJ.
Yes, sir. So last month, Mrs. Clement presented to the board members for the cell phone policy. We did our first reading. There are no changes to the cell phone policy that was proposed last month. We did communicate with employees some more about it during the month. We've had a meeting with admin team to talk about the implementation and how we are going to effectively get messaging done. We've got some ideas there. And we've also sent out a communication through our social media, as well as emailing all of our parents the proposed changes, and that the board would be looking at it tonight. And my recommendation is we approve the policy as it is written and as it was presented last month. And I'm here. I can stand for any questions.
Does any board members have any questions or comments? I did see the information that was sent out, and thank you. I think that the key point here is that this is the state. The state has come down, the legislature passed this law that we are adhering to. And so I know that we've heard some, possible concerns from parents, but the reality is we have to follow the law. And so we're going to, and we'll get through this, and I think it'll be very productive and positive for our students and our school and their education. So
I did have a question because I did have some concerned people reach out because they looked into the guidelines from our state and they feel that there's kind of a gray area. So I don't know if we can get some just better answers on that end. They said that, as far as can the students not have use of their phones during the whole day? I know there was talk about letting them during passing periods, but then we said no on that. So, I guess there's a lot of confusion regarding that aspect, and how are we going to be consistent with that?
Yes, ma'am. And so when the committee started this work before the law, it was even going through the legislative process. And so the original recommendation that was coming out of the committee was students would be able to access their phone during passing periods and during lunch to maintain communication at home. But when the law came out and the governor signed the law, it said that the phone can only be used during the day for educational purposes. And then the law said that passing periods and lunch are considered educational purposes.
Yeah.
And so our interpretation of the law is that that's the same. You cannot use the phone for personal reasons during class. You can't use it during lunch or passing periods as well. I did speak to State Representative Martinez, and I asked her, was it intentional on the legislature to make it this way? And she said in the deliberations they had, it really wasn't discussed one way or the other. And so I think she was open to, as we implement that and we deal with all the issues that are going to deal with that, if that's something that maybe needs to be looked at in the next legislative session. In that, in talking to our staff, I think there is a purposes for communication, for educational purposes throughout the day. Covered a couple times a day where students can communicate with family about educational issues, and that dialogue could take place during a 2.5 period and at the beginning of 6th period. For example, 2.5. Hey, mom and dad, just to let you know right now, PowerPoint shows that I'm having all B grades. We're using the phone to communicate. At that time, as they're communicating that, if there's any important messages that are on the phone, obviously the child's going to be able to glance at it. And if they need to respond, they can respond as part of the education. At the beginning of 6th hour, mom, dad, just let you know tonight I have an hour worth of math homework. Again, if there's important information. But we have talked to both of the schools about the importance of messages getting to students. If we can't get messages to families, as the law talks about, then we're going to have serious trouble with this. And so we've talked about putting procedures in place to ensure that this happens.
I would definitely feel more comfortable if there was some sort of compromise like you've discussed, as long as it's clear. I just feel like that whole, I don't know, I mean, just in my experience of having a child there,
right?
And I, even having the experience with the middle school, because they were a lot stricter in the middle school level with the phones, but there is still an opportunity if they had to get in touch with you, they were allowed to. So I do think that there needs to be something in writing, because I know that I have some very concerned parent friends out there. If there's zero communication, I think that needs to be.
And the law does talk about an emergency situation. Defining emergencies is going to be very difficult to do that. But there are phones in the classroom that kids can use to call home if they need to get communication home. I'm not.
There's just an issue with the
compromise. I am comfortable with allowing kids to utilize the device a couple times a day to communicate educational stuff. And then a part of that communication, if it is to say, hey, I'm at practice tonight or something like that, then then I think that falls under that educational thing.
Yeah.
Right.
It is going to be a major change in behavior.
Yeah. And I agree with be able to use it for educational purposes, communicating back to the parents, but this is where it kind of gets that slippery slope. And so that's where it's going to be incumbent on our teachers to make sure that they manage that properly, where it is, you have, okay, check, we're done. Or send your note to your parent, we're done, phones get away. And the only other option, the only other kind of exemption for that is for medical. So if they needed to check their blood sugar and all that other stuff. So the law does provide that, but it was pretty clear when it said during instructional hours, which is, and they defined it from basically start of school to the end of school. So Mr. Hunt?
Yeah, I've got a comment on this, and that is that I well remember when I was in school that we didn't have cell phones. I am actually that old. We couldn't get a hold of our parents, and the only way our parents could get a hold of us was by calling the school. So my question is what's different with the kids of today's world compared to the kids of my world on the need to get a hold of a parent at any one particular time for any one particular purpose?
Mr. Hunt, I don't think anything's changed other than because of electronics, we're less patient.
Well, yes.
And so parents and children, all of us, with cell phones now, there's an expectation that we instantly communicate. For example, if I need to get a hold of a principal, I'm not going to call his desk, I'm going to call his cell phone. Because normally when the principal sees the superintendent call, he's going to answer. And so when I need to instantly do that, and so it's just those expectations, and we have to train. But there are going to be situations in that, and I think Mrs. Jordan hit it correctly in the last meeting. We want to teach responsible. What we're trying to do is eliminate the distractions in the classroom. And these distractions in the classroom are cell phones are not out, and kids are getting on social media things when they're supposed to be doing math and things like that, or sending text messages. However, we have kids at work hours change sometimes, bosses, and all those challenges. If there's a way to manage that communication, but at the same time, making our classrooms cell phone free so our teachers can focus on academics and our kids can focus on learning, then I think it's a win-win.
Mhm.
But nothing's changed other than patience, I would believe, sir.
Well, and
No,
so
it's habits.
society.
It's habits. Society.
When push comes
Yeah.
to shove, we functioned as a society very well without that. And now all of a sudden we have access to that and we can't survive without it.
Right.
And I think the law is pretty specific. You can twist it, you can bend it, but I don't think the purpose of the law is to twist or bend it.
Well, and I don't believe it says for educational purposes. We're working on that. I think a lot of people have this belief that it is a complete ban of cell phones, where cell phones are not going to be on campuses, or they're going to be collected all day, and some of those things. It's putting them away, not using them during those times, not having them out at lunch, not having them out in passing periods, not having them out in the bathrooms. But there are going to be 1 or 2 times a day. We communicate for educational purposes, let parents know, and at that time, if any communication takes place between there that might help the family, and that's really between them and the family. But our purpose is to allow kids to communicate to their parents about the academics and learning.
I think that to Mr. Hunt's point, and I do remember not having a cell phone too. And the reality is as a parent, I need to feel comfortable if I need to get a hold of my kid. And this is the training point. Instead of, we have to go back, right? Instead of calling their cell phone, call the school, who then, just like on old days, they would send a runner or messenger to that classroom to say, you need to call your mom or dad now, or here's that important message now. And that's training of staff, but it's really training the parents. It's like, that's how if you want immediate access to your child, call the school. And that's incumbent on our school that we will have somebody who's going to answer that phone if they need to, like the red line, the hotline, and be able to go, okay, that's that. Okay, we'll get somebody right there. That's the quickest way to do it because the phones will be put away. So it's training, right? It's just like, for now on, if you need to get a hold of your child ASAP, call the school, and the school is going to make sure that they get that message to the child or the student as quickly as possible. And then they can call from there or run up to the office and call from the office and call home. That's where we need to get back to.
My only concern that has been brought to my attention is about staff usage of phones in front of students who cannot use their phones. And do we have a plan for that, or is teachers going to be under the same?
We do not have a policy
Policy.
currently, Mrs. Jordan, that says teachers cannot use cell phones in class. We will talk to them about responsibly using it, and you should only be using it in emergency situations as well. But again, we're going to have teachers that have children that could potentially be sick, adult parents that could be sick, and sometimes, again, it's retraining. But occasionally, I remember my first year teaching. My daughter was due any day. She made it all the way to June 10th, but there were 2 weeks that I had a beeper on me. The kids called it the baby beeper, and they were watching it during the day. And it's just one of those things. When that beeper went off, I was gone.
Yeah.
And so there are situations, and obviously using the phone to arrange refereeing for a high school basketball game one night or extracurricular things like that. But there are sometimes situations, again, and it's getting the messages to teachers.
Well, I think if we're just clear about communication,
Right.
if a teacher has to do it, hey, this is an emergency, then the kids know there's no, because there's going to be those kids that send home, hey, my teacher was on their phone all day long, even
Right.
though they probably weren't. They were on it for 30 seconds, but
I think it,
With
as
just
I
a-
walk into a classroom, I'm going to have a cell phone on me because if there's an emergency situation,
They're
I'm going
calling
to have to
your cell
step
phone, yeah.
out and I'm going to have to take the call.
well, and I certainly expect, security guards and principals, and there's certain staff that, of course, are going to have it. I think we just got to clue the kids
remember-
and the students into that.
Remember, the Raptor security system has an app on every teacher's phone that they can activate, as we called it last year, the cavalry, to come to the school
Yeah.
in an emergency situation and get there quickly.
I think it boils down to the proper use of the cell
Right.
phones for
Yeah.
the teachers. If they're in the class instructing, obviously they shouldn't be on their phone instructing, It's away during the class time unless they need it for emergency purposes. As the students switch classes and all that, this isn't, students and teachers are not the same.
No.
They should be modeled the same during this. Everyone's focused on education during the instruction time, but I think that the teachers doing their meal time and they can check their phones. I have no problem with that as long as when the kids are there, they're teaching and they're off their phones.
Mhm.
That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So. Anything else?
What's a beeper?
Oh, moving on. All right.
What's a beeper?
Old school.
I had all different colors of beepers in high school. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yes, they do. All right. Is there any other comments or questions
No.
by the board? If not, I will accept a motion. Let me get to that one here.
I'll move to approve the second reading and adoption of district policy JICJ, student use of digital communication and electronic devices as presented.
Now, second?
You have a motion and a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Mr. Lavender.
So item B tonight is ASBA Policy Advisory 866875, which is the adoption. We did the first reading last month, and I can answer any questions on I think it looks like 3 policies that are up for approval tonight.
All right. Is there any questions or comments regarding this item? If not, I'll accept a motion.
I move that we approve second reading and adoption of ASBA Policy Advisory numbers 866 through 875, Section C, revisions and deletions as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Mr. Lavender.
Our next is item number C, which is Policy Advisory 876905. This is the first reading tonight. We'll do the second reading in July, and I can answer any questions board members may have.
Are there any questions or comments by the board? If not, I will accept a motion.
I move to approve the first reading of ASBA Policy Advisory 876 through 905, Section D, revisions and deletions as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Mr. Lavender.
Item D is ASBA policy number 906, 908, first reading, and I can answer any questions board may have.
Any questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the first reading of ASBA Policy Advisory 906 through 908 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Mr. Lavender.
Item number E tonight is Mrs. Beecham and I have been working with the Casa Grande Police Department, looking at our security teams. We're proposing 2 changes. One is changing the name of our security guard to campus safety officers and emphasizing the word safety and supervision aspects of the job a little bit stronger. And then our current teams, both at Union and Vista, have 9 members. And Part B is taking one of those 9 members and making them the senior campus security officer. So part of their responsibility is the other 8 people, or your other 8 officers, or where they're supposed to be. We're working with the police department to divide the school into different sectors. And so you're responsible for this sector, you're responsible for this sector. And again, the goals of this is to, number one, enhance our security at the campuses, but also more eyes out there for prevention of fights, prevention of vaping and things like that, and the prevention of vandalism, which has been an issue that we've had to deal with. We both, Ms. Beach and I, had a meeting last week with our principals, our athletic directors, our admin teams, talk about the expectations for the security teams moving forward. One of the things through the salary market study was we bumped up our pay for our campus safety officers to, again, draw people into that might be a little bit more experienced in supervisory techniques. We will be working with the police this year to provide training for our teams on supervision, checking out in there, and as well as de-escalation in that. They'll also be keeping logs, making sure there are key areas that I checked the bathroom at 8 o'clock, I checked the bathroom at 8:15, and that, so we can start identifying through the use of our cameras on campus and when things might get discovered in there. And so through all of this, the days of the guests walking on campus and seeing 3 security guards standing around talking, or security guards watching one of our facilities guys dig a ditch rather than watching students, should be over, because it just, we have to take security much more effectively. We haven't had an awful situation yet happen at the schools, but if we don't take security more seriously, the possibility of that happening is just going to increase. We talk about security, we talk about layers. Our weapon detection system is a layer, and we know that our security teams have to work and make that stronger. And even though a kid may have alerted 4 days in a week because they carry something that's going to alert every day, we're going to verify every day that that is the item and stuff like that, and not getting too comfortable with our kids and predicting what they have, but verifying. And so supervision and verifying. So I'm recommending tonight that we approve both of these job descriptions, continue to work with Mrs. Beecham to increase these items, so we don't ever have an item that's coming up in J, an emergency procurement, that just has really got me hot. And I know a lot of the board is going to feel the same way as we talk about that tonight.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the board?
No, I think it's a good idea.
Well, and I agree. I think it's a good idea. I think that, to your point, I'm really looking forward to this next year. We have, and just because it's safety officer doesn't mean there's not security in there. So I like, we're kind of softening the title a little bit, but they're going to have the same responsibilities as security. It's just focusing on the safety aspect of it. And thank you for the comments related to really kind of enhancing their activity on the campuses. I think we've got some great safety officers already on our campuses, and just kind of getting them clarification, additional training to help really kind of be, I guess, moving around more, and to help address like you said, the vaping, and just being more physical deterrence for that. And so thank you for bringing this before us. If there's no more comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I will move to approve the job description for campus security officer, formerly security officer, and the new position job description for senior campus safety officer that will replace one of the site security FTE positions as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Mr. Lavender.
Item number F is a transportation agreement amendment. Currently, right now, our transportation provider is Durham. They are in the process of being bought out by another company. As far as I know, the name Durham will remain, But as their accountants have been going over the contracts and their assets, one of the things that they discovered is the non-payment of about 8% sales tax over the last 5 years of the contract, or about $1 million that they owe the state of Arizona. Although if the contract was done correctly back 5 years ago, the district would have been responsible for the contract would have been $1 million more to pay for that over the last 5 years. They have asked, the normal increase this year is 2.5%. They've asked that us to share some of the painting this year, the increase of the cost of paying the sales tax. So they've asked if we would agree to 4.5%, or about a $92,000 increase from the 2.5% to the 4.5%. I will say this, that Durham has been a fantastic partner for this district. They work hard. Their administrative team is very responsive. We're getting ready to go out for bid next year. And so we realize mistakes are made. We budgeted for a $250,000 increase this year in transportation costs. With this, I think the actual increase is about 190,000, that's correct. And so it's well below that, but I think it shows good faith in working with the company to go ahead and approve the 2% increase. So my recommendation is to the board that we approve this contract amendment.
Wait, so improve 4.5 instead of 2.5.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or comments? And this is the one time ask?
This is the last year of the contract. And so going into next year, we can anticipate we're going to have an 8% increase in our costs, because we're going to have to share in the cost of the sales tax. That usually it's the buyer who pays sales tax, not the,
Right.
I mean, the seller does, but they tack it onto the price. And so moving into that, we're going to see some significant increases next year in our transportation costs, which we will prepare for and look at other areas that cut prices and things like that.
So how long have we had a relationship with Durham?
Well, this contract has been for, I think we're going into year 6, but I think it's the second contract in my career. They've been here as long as, when we brought them on.
After we got, they came after Durham, Beeline, which was like 2019 maybe.
Okay.
Shannon left 2018, 2019.
Yeah, Beeline was still here when Shannon was here, so it had to be the next.
Yeah.
Okay.
Year.
The feedback that I get from our admin team, our employees, is how good of a job that they do.
That's good.
And so obviously going into a bidding process
Next year.
We have to accept bids, evaluate bids and all that.
Okay.
I just don't want it to be like, okay, well, we gave into this, and then when it comes time to renegotiate, when it's a new company, we feel like we're backed up against a wall that we've already, I don't mind this number. I just feel like, are we setting ourselves up, for.
Well, I think that's the importance of going through the bid process itself. If it was just one company, then I'd have concerns, but they're going to
tell
have
you,
to.
3 people from Durham came to meet with us. They didn't call us. They didn't send us a letter to talk about the importance of this and working through these things. So they value us, the fact that they came out and met with us. So it really is
Okay.
kind of a compromise, for lack of a better word.
Any other, Mr. Hunt?
I owned the business for over 40 years. And during that period of time, I did make mistakes. And some of those mistakes cost me. Now, being a business owner, that's part of operating my business, is to be responsible enough to take on the mistakes that I make and take care of it myself. I did that as a business owner. I expect as a customer that the business does the same thing. And I've been in both positions, and I understand the pain that can be created when you make a mistake that cost you $1 million. But you still buckle up and you pay for it. You don't go to anybody else and ask them to help you pay for it. And I understand the desire to help somebody when they've made a mistake. But that's not what business is about.
I understand, and I think it was an interpretation of law. We've had lawyers looking at this been since February, and the lawyers are all over the place on this and different interpretations of how the law is. We wish laws were as simple as this, but as we know from our cell phone law, there's all kinds of areas in there. Our attorney said, they don't have to pay it. Their attorney said we did. And so it's really looking at those areas.
So this additional 2% represents how much of the sales tax? Is it the whole sales tax? So how much is it? Is it?
Well, the contract's for $4 million, so whatever 8% of $4 million is, which would be roughly
32,000?
$320,000. So it's a fourth of it.
So we're not like back paying what they messed up on. This is just to fix it moving forward.
one year.
This year,
It's just
because
1 year
they're going to
offset.
have to continue to pay it, and they asked if we would be willing to work with them on it.
And this buys us goodwill towards the next bidding process?
I can't say that.
Different company.
Well, potentially, absolutely.
Mhm.
That's
The
what it
management
is.
is remaining the same in the company. It's the owner that's changing.
But, if that's what you're talking about,
Right.
yeah, because
Yeah.
they're going to go out for the bid, so it could be a totally different company next year.
Are there other viable companies for us to get bids from? Or are we?
That's what we're going to find out in January. We again, we wanted a different company 5 years ago because of some issues. There's not a lot of transportation companies out there. It's a unique service. We're one of 2 or 3 school districts in Arizona that contracts their transportation. Most of the school districts do it in-house. We're not in any kind of position where we can do in-house transportation. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the buses.
Any other comments, questions?
Well, I
All
mean,
right, there's nothing?
yeah.
No, I will accept a motion.
I'll move to approve the transportation agreement pricing amendment as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Mr. Hayes,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Mr. Jordan,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
No,
and Mr. Wilkie.
Yes. Mr. Lavender, MOU.
We have an MOU we're asking you to approve tonight from Cartwell Health Services. Cartwell recently signed a contract with Arizona Department of Education, a partnership to provide mental health services to students throughout the state. This service is done through Teledoc, where the students are doing it online during off-school hours. If need be, they can come in and do it during school hours, but most of it's off school. Again, it's offering another resource for students and mental health services that may need it. And we recommend, it's not costing the district anything because it's a partnership with ADE, and the company will work with the students, and if they have health insurance, for reimbursement.
All right. Any questions or comments? I think the price is right, and I think that adding additional resource to our students is an important thing to do. So I will accept a motion.
I move to approve the memorandum of understanding with Cartwheel Health Services for Arizona Mental Health Telehealth Pilot as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Mr. Hayes,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Mr. Jordan,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
yes.
and Mr. Wilkie.
Yes. Mr. Lavender.
Yeah, the next item I'm asking you to approve tonight is a related services contract. We're in a unique position in the district in which we have 2 psychologists, 1 for each school, but there are some services that need to be done, that both of them, their calendars are full for our level D students, that are Desert Choice students or ACES students and doing things like that. And then also PT services, physical therapy, as well as occupational therapy, where there are services provided, we don't need a full-time person. And this contract for services has been in place, I think Mrs. Dan was telling me today, 25 years? And so this is just a continuation of contracting for psychologist services when we need it, for special things, and then the OT, PT services when the IEP calls for it. Anything else I should have covered? We recommend approval, sir.
Any questions or comments from the board? I do have a question. These have been going on for so long. I mean, how often is it utilized? I mean, are we seeing this put to good use by the individuals that are needing of it? I mean, is it something that's frequently used? Is it just?
So our LGBT publicly, usually we have 2 to 3 times a year with the number of students we have to have it. As far as the psychologist, we utilize her for all of our IEPs that are level D
Okay.
students, which is about 75, and
Okay.
the overflow students in our, there's a great number of students who don't need additional testing, then the psychologist will help just reduce the level of work that our chief psychologist did. And so they're definitely, we can't hire anybody else, so the services are required to support it, so.
Good. I'm glad they're being used. Huh?
They're definitely being used.
Okay. I'm sorry that they're being used, but I'm glad we have them available. If there's no more comments or questions, I'll accept a motion.
I'll move to approve the renewal of the agreements with the Arizona School Psychology Services LLC for the School Psychologist Services and Stenhouse LLC for physical therapy services, and the new agreement with Eleutheria LLC for occupational therapy services as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
You have a motion and a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Mr. Lavender.
Thank you. Item I tonight, Mr. Hunt talked during the cell phone thing about a gap in people that are older versus people that are younger. So one of the things the Department of Education has partnered with is an MOU with Health Crops. And what they've done is they've selected college or hired and trained college students that are much closer to the age of our students to go into schools and mentor students about the importance of getting good grades, making good choices, career paths, and things like that. And so this year, again, this is a service that's offered by the Department of Education. PACE would like to use this service for mentoring of their students. And so, again, we recommend this because we believe these students, working with our PACE students, can make some natural connections. These kids were recently high school students 2-3 years ago.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? With that, I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the memorandum of understanding with Health Corps as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Mr. Lavender.
I'm going to ask Mr. Bellick if he join me up here because you may have some technical questions for him regarding this as well. We're asking for approval tonight for some emergency projects that need to get done for the start of school. So when our students come back in July, we have proper facilities for them and some upgraded facilities that should eliminate some of the vandalism. What we've had some vandalism, and what's happened behind the walls, because the school is aging. Some of the pipes have been damaged, which has caused some water leaks. And so we're asking for approval of projects at Union for $99,000 for the restrooms, for the $10,000 contingency, and $75,000 for the shower. So $174,000. At Union, or Vista is $80,000 for some restroom damage as well. And again, we had a meeting last week. I talked to the administrator, I talked to the principals, the directors. I mean, we're asking for $254,000. I'm outraged that this has happened. I know Mr. Bellick is frustrated as well. That we're, as I explained to the principals, that could be a 1% raise for our staff that we're having to spend to repair some of these things. We talked about security. Enhanced security will help in some of these things, but some of this is better supervision from our certified staff in the locker rooms and some of that as well. And again, that's the conversation that we've had is the expectation is this has to be done and there needs to be accountability when it doesn't happen, because we need to be loud and clear to our staff. We have just asked for approval tonight of $254,000 to fix these things. But if we don't fix these things, then the damages could get worse through the corrosion, the water leaks, molding, and things like that. Mr. Bellick, is there anything that I didn't cover that probably maybe help a little bit more with the story? And
Yeah, so some of the, good evening. Some of the things that we're trying to change and try to help out so we can eliminate some of the vandalism, I think, is some of the drywall is going to come off. We're going to go with, instead of a 5/8 drywall, we're going to go with a 5/8 fire rated plywood. And then we're going to texture that, have that all textured, and have that done in 10 restrooms at Vista. There's all 10 of them have, right now, there's probably 2 or 3 4 by 8 foot plywoods from all the damage that's happened. So that's one of the least of the jobs. Should be done by June 30th. The one that's more intense is the ones at Union. What they've done is they ripped out some of the urinals and kicked off the sinks, kicked off the toilets, and a lot of the partitions, so damaged the structure of the walls. When they damaged the restroom, the showers, they cracked some of the bottom of the showers where it L's into the bottom flooring. So what happened with that, it's backed up against the walls of the restroom. So they're in joining walls there. So we have metal studding and cast iron pipe in those walls. So with all the water that's been happening and showers that happen during PEs and band events or different events that are happening, what happened is it ran into the walls, damaged the structure of the cast iron and also the metal framing that goes up. So when we did inspections on it, a lot of the bottom plate of the track, so the restrooms and showers both have tile. What's keeping those walls secure and safe is because of the tile. So the bottom layers of those have been eaten up by the rust and the year of the damage that's happened. So we're going to go ahead and back those walls up as well. The restroom will have tile in them again, but instead of going to a tile flooring that if they drop or do any kind of damage, we're going to go straight concrete with epoxy coatings in there, which will help us with all the water. And then we'll be able to go in there and fix all the damage that happened. So of course, with the age of the school as well, metals rust. So when those things were leaking, the cast iron threading, we couldn't go back and secure them as properly as we wanted to. We tried silicone to get through the year, but of course those leaked as well. So it caused the damage in those walls. So
one of the things we considered is taking their entire capital budgets for both schools next year to cover that, but it only covers $200,000. And so we've told both schools next year, unless it is absolutely necessary, it's not going to be approved. And so, like one of the ideas that we've heard recently is to reshape or reuse the library at Union and have it more of a college look. It's not going to happen. until, number one, we pay for these damages in there, and then number two, that this doesn't happen anymore as well. Part of our challenges, and again, I don't want to make any excuses, this is unacceptable and our staff has to get better, including myself, is these TikTok challenges where, you know, they do the challenge, go out and vandalize a bathroom and post it and those type of things. Those things have really hurt us. As we are in litigation with the social media companies, obviously, these things will be included as some of the damages and the impact of these things. But, you know, there are multiple people suing the social media companies and things like that. But we have to take care of our house, and we have to show that we are stronger. But again, through our work with the security, we're impressing upon the schools these expectations. Our security's got to be out and about. You got to have teachers out during passing periods and these type of things. We, you know, this is just unacceptable. And if we don't, then next year when we talk about salaries, if you know, we haven't made up this money, and then we're looking at taking that right off the top as well, because again, we have to fix it.
So do we have cameras? I know we can't have cameras in the bathrooms. Do we have cameras in the hallways, like leading to the doors? Because if we can pinpoint, or at least deter the students from doing this stuff, if they know if eyes are on them. Because I mean, and how, if you rip something off the wall, doesn't that make a loud sound? Like, where's the staff? Why does nobody hear it? Then we can get something on a timestamp that says, hey, this happened around this time. Let's look at the cameras. Let's interview. Like, we need to hold the students accountable. TikTok, that's a scapegoat. I know it's a problem, but our students need to be accountable for their own actions, and we need to hold them to that. And if they just think they're going to get away with it, or if it doesn't happen during like sporting events, but we need to kind of pinpoint when this is happening. Is it during the school day, or is it after school hours? When is it happening? Do we have any idea?
I think it's in passing, like say when some of the staffing is going out, they do their PE classes and they're doing an outside event. Some allow, you know, to go to the restrooms and things like that. So we think those are the times that are happening, because we'll do morning inspections, and by that in the morning, those things are good. And then by the afternoon, they're just ripped to.
Yeah, but if we had cameras
Especially
in the
when they're
hallways,
ripped,
you could look back. It's probably only 2 or 3 kids. You could pinpoint and say, this kid walked through here, that, you know, I mean, definitely, I think it would deter some of this from happening.
And we do have some of those things in play. So what we do, there are cameras at the front of those doors. So they do detect vape, and also supposed to detect when, you know, violence or you're, you know, a lot of motions going on, supposed to detect, and then it sends a signal, and then we have somebody monitoring a camera that will tell you, hey, this and this is going on. But I know in the past, when I've looked at that setting, there's like over 250 vape detections that pop up.
Yeah.
So it makes it really hard to keep up with what's going on when the security staff is out trying to figure out some of those things. So there are things in play. I think it's just us either tweaking them up more or getting, like Mr. Lavender was saying, having a lead there that can monitor and say, no, we need to go and report to these certain things that happen. So
one of the duties on the job descriptions that we just revised is a daily task sheet. So each safety officer will need to complete that. So then we can, hold them more accountable. If Ralph came to me and said, hey, this restroom, then I could look back at their tasks and find out why didn't they notice it, because they said they checked the restroom at this time during this period. So we're hoping that's going to help a lot as well.
Do those cameras record stuff, or is it just so you could go back on a time if you had a
Yes.
general time?
Yes.
Yeah. So say the vape detection comes on, that camera actually signals, so then it records that front entrance, so you could see. But of course, I think some of the stuff that we go through is it's already flushed and plugged in the toilet before, you can find anything on there. So it's hard to kind of pinpoint somebody that's, actually, or accuse them of it when they don't have any evidence on it.
So what are we replacing with? Because I know I've seen other places that use the reinforced sinks, like when you put them up, the brackets that are dang near impossible to rip it off the wall, or doing one wall of sinks so it's one whole, a one piece instead of 5 individual pieces. I know we saw what is proposed, but what are we replacing it with?
So we are going, and what we did, since we are tearing out all the, because of course at, you know, Union, it's older, so you can't find tile that's going to match. So of course the whole wall has to come out. So instead of having 2 different colors, so what we ask the contractors to do when they do that, there's going to be reinforced brackets in the walls for those, and also a plywood backing that's fire rated as well and waterproof. So that way we slap that on there, so you have double reinforcements. So you also have the metal studs in the wall that are going to help it, and that's what we're also adding for our partitions, because they rip the partitions off pretty easy, and I don't understand how they can't hear it, but that's what happens. So we're gonna, since the walls are open, we're gonna try to have better supporting and beams put back into there as well, so they won't be able to do that as easy. Yeah.
And I think that sector with the security guards is going to be good, having them check hourly as there, because, and then do we have legal action we can take against parents and families if we pinpoint it to a direct student?
If we can establish that they've done it, number one, we can press criminal charges against them and request restitution for Pinal County. There was a incident a year and a half ago at Vista, where some students broke into campus and damaged some stuff, and through the court system. It's a long, lengthy process, and a lot of times,
We're not going to see the money.
it's difficult. Families have multiple things, but yeah, but that's one way, or through the suspension process. You know, you can make it contingent upon returning to school that, you know, these things get paid off. You don't like to do it, but at the same time, if we don't,
We have to hit them at least once.
if we don't start doing things like that, you know, we've done some silent witness. We're going to ask the schools to have student council to step up the efforts. And so we can reinforce when things are going right and well. You know, as I told the principals on Tuesday, I've had some conversations with you about vandalism. I said the little dirty secret's coming out Tuesday night, because we're having to do this. We can't hide it. You know, and stuff. And, you know, Mr. Wilkie and I, we've had conversations. You know, we've had to close some bathrooms. We've had people complain to the health department about closed bathrooms and things like that. And so we're working through all of these things, and we'll just have to continue. And that's why, again, that restructuring of our campus security team will be helpful. You know, and we're going to hear that they're understaffed. And as I've said, then prove to me they're understaffed or when they've done that, because you can't tell me they're understaffed when you come on campus and you see 3 of them sitting at a picnic table talking to some students under there. And you're understaffed when you're moving all around and you're getting these errors, and it's still happening. And I don't know if we'll ever get to the case where it's totally gone, but we can deter it and things like deter it and stuff. You know, the city recently had the situation at McNatt Park, and I think we have sent the city some video that we have, and we might be able to help them with their investigation.
So what we're also going to do for you guys as well is put an Excel spreadsheet together, so that any month that you guys want to come and see what it is, we can send that out to you. That's going to just specialize in what POs we're using for vandalism. If of course, because, you know, a lot of the vandalism this year also we probably 2 to 3 times as much in toilet paper for trends that are happening. So we'll be able to pinpoint on those and give you guys those spreadsheets of when, you know, partitions were ripped out, or if the toilet dispenser, the soap dispensers, anything that we're using as a vandalism, we'll be able to give you a report and say, this is what we actually spent, and hey, this is actually working, you know, so whatever we put in play to help with it. So
Ralph, my understanding is that they've got sensors that are so finely tuned anymore that, like glass breakage or anything of that nature that's noisy, you can hear it and respond to it quickly. If you've got cameras outside the restrooms and you've got 2 or 3 people coming out of that restroom after some noise of that nature, you know it's going to be one of those three students. It's got to be. You put a little bit of pressure on students and let them know what the possibilities are as far as moving forward with retribution, not retribution, but punishment. One of those students is going to break. One of those students will turn on the other student that did the damage. We have that as a possibility by putting those sensors in the bathrooms. And I don't think they're all that expensive.
No, and we actually, from what I understand with the system that we do have, and Dave could probably, we have that in play already. So we could actually tune our system to do that. So it would just, I know that Mr. Lineberry, we've worked together where he's actually given gift cards, like $25, $50 gift cards. And we have gotten, some people to talk, and he's been able to do this. So there are things that we're trying to put in play. It's just now some of the extent of the damage, and of course, a year's worth of these things happening, that now it's kind of coming out to light more. So,
Mr. Hayes?
No, anything I'd ask has already been said.
So you just stated that we have the technology there.
yes. And like I said,
So
I'm pretty sure, right, Dave, with our vape sensors that we,
The data sensors cover both vaping and loud noises. There's a fight.
it's supposed to pick up whenever anything's in a distress mode, it picks up those kind of. So what we need to do is, I think we would just kind of fine tune, bring out, Climate Tech was the ones that installed our system, bring them out, maybe do another training on it with, maybe with security and some of the stuff that we're trying to implement, and maybe be able to.
Well, I know like the vape detectors, it's a silent alarm, right? But I think if there's something like a loud noise, like a glass break, like I have a glass break on my own alarm system, like there should be something that is loud, like something that alerts, like, oh crap, they found me.
I thought that the detectors gave out a noise.
I think it's a silent alarm so
No,
they
it-
can
it
come to
just
the door.
Basically, so that way it's supposed to help you so you can go catch who's doing it.
But if no one's around, like, it defeats the purpose.
Yeah, so, but.
But that's too late, then you don't
yeah.
know,
So- So it sends a quiet, so we can sneak up on them. That does, yeah.
Well, it's because they flush it. They flush, if they hear that noise, they flush it, and then we can't do anything.
Well, we hear the message, so they flush it. Okay. The message gets sent. This is just my take on it. If it's a loud noise that scares the out,
See,
They
maybe
leave.
runs out.
Yeah, who's running out?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes, you're running out. And two, you can't do it. You're going to be caught in the bathroom, so don't be vaping. So that's a strong message that we could send with that. That's an option. The other option is, but I think this is a whole all hands on deck kind of situation when we're talking about this. The enhanced training, and I'm hopeful that by putting them into sectors or beats or whatever we're calling it, that they're going to take pride in there, and the safety officers are going to take pride in that, and you can hold them accountable. Okay, the bathroom seems to be hit all the time. It's in your sector. You need to step it up so we can hold them to that accountability. We use the technology we have maybe more effectively.
Mhm.
I'd love to see I'm going down the metal detectors. I want to see if this thing's jacked up every so often. Keep them around so kids understand that. Put on the high sensitivity for a while and have the kids, we're pulling that out. So they get the message. You're going to get caught one of these times.
Mhm.
Don't do it. Use the randomization of it because they are mobile. Put them outside some of those bathrooms every so often. So kids come through, they see it popping up. Okay, maybe it's not a good idea for me to do this. We have to be a more physically proactive and a physical deterrent type environment there, because I think that it goes a long way to some of the other students that are like, oh, they are taking this seriously, and I'm going to feel better about it. And hopefully you never have to give out any of those $25 cards because people will get it. I mean, and this is a place of an institution of learning, right? Learning to be socially and productive members of society. Well, personal responsibility is definitely one of those. And personal accountability is definitely one of those. So it's stressing that as part of the curriculum. And I just think that parents need to be, brought into this too. And if a student is caught, parents are right there with them. as a partner for us to try to help it steer that student back on the right path. I am a little bit frustrated, a lot of frustration, a little bit angry here that we are spending so much money on this for stuff that can be at least reduced drastically. And so I think that we're all on the same page here, that going forward this next year, we're going to see a lot of improvement in this, and the students are going to feel safer. And those students that are looking to do that kind of stuff will have to find a wait and go off school. Don't do it don't do it. But if you're going to do it, not in this house. You know what I'm talking about? Not on this campus. All right.
Who,
I do have a meeting with Climate Tech on Wednesday because they're doing our fire safety for union. So I will ask that question. If can we do something that maybe sets off an alarm and does something like that in that certain area? I can ask those questions and see if there's added technology we have to do, or is it maybe if that's something in our system already.
Right.
And then I'll get back with you guys on.
Or at least something that directly goes to like the security guards or to the principals, or instead of an email, because you're going to check an email later and it's too late. But if there's something happening in that moment and you know what sector, okay, like you said, that's my go now. Like, don't wait. Like, but so there's got to be some sort of technology that you get that alert.
yeah, who's monitoring the alerts? Is that going to be the news, safety,
It'll be
the senior
it'll be
safety?
the senior as well as the administrators that share the disciplinary things. And it's not just an email. It's a message that goes to your phone.
Okay.
Message goes to that phone, then it has to go back to the security or safety officer's phone.
It's actually pretty quick.
Okay.
It alerts pretty
just gotta be
fast,
more
and it's
proactive.
actually time stamped, and it also has a video footage that pops up with it, so you can actually see who comes out of there. It's just, I mean, I don't know what happens after, and
Yeah.
I think our security's just been too far away from it.
I think shock and awe.
Their library has a comment. Library.
Sorry, Mr. Lineberry. Sure, absolutely, please.
So with the vape alarms, we have somebody at the security desk who is monitoring the cameras. Anytime a vape alarm goes off, it bings and it puts up an alert for that camera. We average well over 500 a week.
Do you think that would be reduced if it was a loud alarm that sounded in that bathroom?
I don't know.
I mean, they're not going to stick around. I mean, if you make it loud enough, everybody's going to be cleared out.
Oh, I think if it's loud enough and you have a security guard that's right there running at them at the same time, it might work.
Well, I mean, have we caught kids from the vape detectors?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's helping.
Oh,
Yeah.
What's happened to those kids that have been caught?
it depends on what they're vaping and how many times they've done it.
Question for you, what difference does it make what they're vaping? The fact of the matter is that
Well-
tobacco and those type of products are illegal for kids of that age. Cannabis definitely is illegal for them. So I don't understand why some is okay and others is not.
But I wasn't saying that some are okay and some aren't, but the severity of the punishment depends on what they were vaping, how much they have on them, whether it's the first time they've been caught or the third time they've been caught. It just depends on the individual student and what they happen to be doing at that time.
I might suggest that you take a second look at this because, for an example, if you get a Dewey, it is well known that most people that get Deweys will have 300 to 400 times that they should have gotten one, that they didn't get caught. So the question comes, how many times have these students never gotten caught? And they get caught the first time, but before that, they have done it many, many, many times. Deterrence is a strong punishment in the very beginning. That's my personal opinion, and I think we see that in many areas.
Thank you, Mr. Lineberry.
Okay.
Any
more questions?
Yeah. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no more further questions or comments, I will accept the motion.
I move to approve the emergency procurement for bathroom repairs, locker room repairs, and sidewalk repairs as presented.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Jordan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
And Mr. Wilkie?
Yes. Mr. Lavender.
Item K is our athletic training services. Currently, right now, we contract one trainer for each high school. And the recommendation, because many nights we have multiple events going on, we might have a basketball game in the gym, a soccer game out on the field. We have one trainer that's dividing their time, the severity of injuries and that. So this person would be 20 hours per week to support when our trainer is out ill or out for various reasons, as well as when we have two events on the campus during the evening. The 20 hours per week would be a contracted cost of $42,000.
And this is our renewal contract with athletic training service.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Not, I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve renewal and revision to the athletic trainer services contract from AT Direct Sports Medicine as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion, a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Jordan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
And Mr. Wilkie?
Yes. Mr. Lavender.
Item number L is the contract for our audit services for next year. I think this is the 5th year of a 5-year contract. Each year, we're required to audit. This will be looking at fiscal year 25, which will be closing on June 30th, to go through and continue to receive feedback on how we're doing, and also feedback on things that need to be corrected. And we recommend approval.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll accept a motion.
I'll move to approve to renew the contract with Heinfeld, Meach and Co. PC for the single audit and ACFR for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025 as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion, a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Jordan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
And Mr. Wilkie?
Yes. Mr. Lavender.
Our next item is item number M, which is our combined resolution for our county treasurer. As you know, Pinal County serves as our fiscal agent. We submit our reports to them. They're the one that issue checks to our employees, our vendors, and things like that. And so we're recommending approval to continue this relationship.
All right. Any questions or comments? If not, I will accept a motion.
I move to approve fiscal year 2026 combined resolution for county treasurer transactions as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Jordan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
And Mr. Wilkie?
Yes. Mr. Lavender.
Item number N is the renewal of our annual Alliance workers' compensation coverage. All of our employees are covered if there's an injury at work for the medical care, as well as lost wages. And we recommend approval of this policy.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the Alliance coverage acceptance form for renewal of workers' compensation coverage in fiscal year 2026 as presented.
I second.
We have a motion, a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Jordan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkie?
Yes. Mr. Lavender.
And then we also have insurance through the Arizona Schools Risk Retention. This covers any accidents that may take place on our campus, and again, or any legal services, and we recommend approval.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the Arizona Schools Risk Retention Trust Property and Liability Insurance Renewal for fiscal year 2026.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Jordan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkie?
Yes. Mr. Lavender.
And then item number P, through our Cartwell's, our food service provider, we provide contracted services to St. Anthony's, as well as Grandy Innovation Academy, GIA, and so this allows them to provide food for their students, and they pay us and then we pay Cartwell. So it's a win-win. Our students in our community are being fed at these two schools, and it's part of the contract. And so we recommend approval.
Any comments or questions? I think that's a very nice community, partnership that's going on here that everyone's benefiting. I will accept a motion.
I will move to approve the school meal program agreements with Grande Innovation Academy and St. Anthony of Padua Catholic School as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkie?
Yes. Mr. Lavender.
And the last is acceptance of donations. Casa Grande Union High School has received several generous donations this month. Our Spirit Line received $200 from Doris RV, $2,000 from Ellison Mills Contracting, $250 from Alan Riley's AC for Kitty Camp, $200 from Fitzgibbons Law for Kitty Camp, $1,000 from the Casa Grande Rotary Foundation, $200 from Mi Amigo Ricardo's, $400 from Buffalo Wild Wings, $200 from Dr. Grant Walton, $250 from Pinal Federal Credit Union, $200 from Powerhouse Fitness, and $200 from RT Livestock LLC. Also, Karen DeBold donated $770.09 to the Casa Grande Union Drama Department, and the Casa Grande Rotary Foundation donated $1,000 to the culinary arts students at Casa Grande Union. We recommend approval of these with much gratitude.
Any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Here we are in summer, and yet the community keeps on being generous. And so thank all of these generous donators.
Mhm.
With that, I'll accept a motion accept a motion.
I move to approve the following donations as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Mr. Jordan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkie?
Yes. Brings us to the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda, items A through G, can be considered in one motion by the board unless a board member would like to remove any of these items for discussion. Is there any interest by any of the board members to remove any of these items for individual consideration? Seeing none, I will accept a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Mr. Jordan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
No.
And Mr. Wilkie?
Yes. And that brings us to the public comment. I didn't receive any interest cards, so with that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, please call for the vote.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Jordan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
And Mr. Wilkie?
Yes, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much for coming.